Hello everyone and welcome to Blank First Page. My name is Lucas. Today I've got these Parker 25 fountain pens to share. They are a medium and a fine nibbed fountain pen. They were originally my grandfather's and they are from the 1980s. That is when Parker released them, and they were marketed as a mid to entry level type of pen for people within the age group of 18 to 30. They are relatively simple design and made out of basic materials, stainless steel and plastic, which meant they were cheaper to produce and therefore easily affordable by that particular age group. They come in this plastic case, held in this brown plastic insert, which I think is brown to kind of look like leather. It's got a bit of texture to it as well. I don't know if that's the case. It definitely doesn't look like leather. And in the back, we've got a set of instructions printed on quite nice paper, how to use the pen, a bit of how to clean it, what ink to use, and so on. It suggests the use of Parker Super Quink, which is one of the worst inks you can buy for fountain pens, I think. It's super watery, which probably means it's good for fountain pens in that it's not going to clog them up. But what it means is that the ink is very light. Even the blue-black ink that I used to use from there was very light, and a blue-black, you want it definitely on the darker end of the blue spectrum, but it just ends up being this light blue on the page, which I don't like at all. So I've got these fountain pens. We'll just look at one for now because the design features are all the same. It's got this nice detail at the end of the cap, green to kind of match all the other details. The Parker arrow logo on the clip, green line, which is just the back of the grip, which is all this green plastic. Because they make their own nibs, I believe, Parker always have quite a cool and different design of the actual nib. And it's different to what I'd call a traditional nib, which is what I've got on this TWSBI 580. That's kind of the nib you think of when you think of fountain pen nibs. Now, the interesting design feature of this pen, which I don't particularly like on the surface of it, because of the narrow part of the pen at the back here, to me, it is aesthetically not quite right because it kind of looks unbalanced. It tips the pen forward, which makes sense, kind of you write this way, but somehow I feel that the backs of pens should have some weight to them. I don't know why that's the case. But that all changes when you cap this pen, which is the world's most postable pen. You see, once the lid is on the back, it becomes this uniform diameter all across the back, and it fits just nicely in the hand. When it is uncapped, if you tend to write with fountain pens uncapped, which I sometimes do, for example, with the TWSBI, I definitely write with it uncapped. And that's mainly because if you do cap it, it becomes super unwieldy. It's very long. You basically add the entire length of the cap of the pen to the point where it becomes too long to comfortably write with. And in this case, it's unbalanced the other way because you've got this big old honking cap on it that just is not right. This pen, on the other hand, when you post it, you only add about 10 to 15 millimeters to the overall length of the pen. But that's enough to go from something that seems too small in the hand to something that's just right. So you don't have any steps here where it'll start annoying you in this crook of the hand. And it's just long enough that it rests comfortably. At least in my hand, it fits really nicely. If you have Parker pens, you know that the one annoying thing about them is that they have their own design of cartridge. If we take this apart, we can see the size of the cartridge in there. It's an unusually long cartridge. I've got some standard ink cartridges here, which most fountain pens take, much shorter. They are also quite different in the end design. The main difference is the end, where it is both wider in diameter and also longer. I'm sure you can get piston converters that are fitted with a Parker end. I actually use a syringe to fill my fountain pens, so I can just reuse the same old cartridges and fill them with my preferred ink, which is the platinum carbon ink, and it works just fine. And because it's not actually a piston converter, you can fit more ink into it because you don't have that part that is always taken up by the piston mechanism. So let's fill them up with ink. The only problem when you fill cartridges this way is that if the pen is completely clean, the nib and the feed in particular, you don't have an easy way of like getting them going. If you've got a piston fountain pen, if you fill them with a syringe like I do, you can kind of get it going. You just start the piston, push the piston down to push ink through, and that gets the pen going. Whereas with a converter, you kind of have to wait for the ink to naturally flow down the feed. So I've got again my Japanese school book here for a pen test. So we'll start off with this top one, which is the fine nibbed pen, and then we will have a look at the medium nib. Might actually take a bit of scratching to get the ink flowing. Give it a few strong shakes. Let's try. Okay. The line is fine that it's putting down. For comparison, this Muji as a comparison, which is a sort of a Japanese fine, I'd say, and it's about the same line thickness. I can get fatter lines if I press, and I can get also lighter. Just by keeping the pressure light. Now we'll go for the broader nib. It's not really very broad, and I'm quite interested to see how different it is to the fine, because visually it does not look that different. A few good shakes. Oh, might have given it stronger shakes. It's definitely putting down more ink. I don't know that it is that much finer, but more ink seems to be flowing out. It's a very subtle difference, but this text is definitely darker than here. I wouldn't call this anything but a medium. For comparison, we'll use this Mont Blanc. Let's say it's a Mont Blanc medium. Works well in all directions, just as the other one did. Yeah, I'd use this one too. In reality, I don't think there's enough of a difference between the two nibs. They both give good amount of feedback. There wasn't any difference in feel that I could see between the two. Sort of the finer one you'd expect to be maybe a bit scratchier, but that wasn't really the case. I got the same kind of feel writing with both. When I choose my own fountain pens, I definitely go for the fine nibs, and this is a really good fine nibbed fountain pen. Because it's steel, it's a good daily use pen. It'll hold up, you don't have to be super precious about it. It will hold up to sort of being clanged around in a bag or in a jeans pocket. It'll, good reach on a jacket pocket. T-shirt test, not bad. It doesn't feel even that you have something dragging your t-shirt down, which is the ultimate pen test here. So good contender for like an everyday carry kind of pen. So there you go. That's the Parker 25 fountain pen set. Get yourself a set before they become collector's items and they appreciate in value. And even if they don't, they're just a nice addition to a pen collection, really. Readily available and pretty good quality pens, at least this particular set that I have is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.